Given that I fairly recently voiced an AI in a short film, yeah, I feel like I have some business talking about this. Was that an awkward plug from my friend? That might have been an awkward plug from my friend. Go check out Identities over at Nebula. My friend Jesse Gender made it. I do make a vocal appearance in it, but big ups to your friends. Why? 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 Everyone's clicked off now. Nobody's left watching. But okay. For some of you, this is going to be old news. Now, normally I would have put this video out last week, closer to when the news kind of broke and it was a bigger deal. The thing is, though, I really didn't want to bump last week's video. I put too much work into it to delay it. But there was a news story from an outlet called Proof News, working in collaboration with Wired, that not only have various AI companies or companies with AI divisions been scraping YouTube for data to train their AI, but this came along with a tool that allowed YouTubers to search their channel name and see if their stuff had been used. So here's the thing. The general idea that these companies are scraping YouTube, we already know. New York Times broke this as a concept earlier this year and it had long been suspected prior to that. But this story was still a big deal and it made it very tangible because now, even though we were pretty positive that they were all doing this, and it was very safe to assume, given the sheer volume of data these quote unquote AI, I'm going to say AI. I know it's not actually artificial intelligence and it's not intelligent in any way, shape, or form, but it's called AI, so we're going to go with the term that is being used. But training these AI takes massive amounts of data. So it was a pretty safe bet that they weren't getting permission for everything that they were using. But that was a difficult thing to track. Well, now YouTubers can look themselves up, see if their videos have been used, and actually say, hey, I didn't say you could do that. And that has made this much more visceral for a lot of people. A number of YouTubers, including two that I have talked to before and follow, NerdSync and Stephanie Sterling over at Jimquisition, they have both put out pieces talking about the fact that their videos have been scraped for this. Now, they talk about the broader implications as well. I don't want to make either of them sound like they are only doing it from a selfish angle, but obviously when it becomes much more tangible, hey, these people are stealing, and suddenly it becomes, hey, they're stealing from you, it makes it a bit more visceral and a bit more personal. That's just what happens. Now, if you're wondering, no, they have not scraped my videos. So I don't have a personal stake in this, nor do I have any reason to seek revenge or anything of that nature. I'll get to why they didn't scrape mine, because I actually do know why. But we'll get to that in a little bit. The thing is, as I said, for a decent amount of you, probably this is going to be old news. But I'm talking about it anyway. I'm talking about it knowing that I have missed whatever algorithmic boost this story had. I've missed the window. This is probably going to be my lowest performing video in months, if I am correct in my assumptions. Maybe it'll surprise me, but I'm anticipating that. And I'm doing it anyways. And I'm doing it anyways to signal boost what is going on. Because if it is even a possibility that a dozen people from this video realize the extent of the problem with these things who didn't realize it before, then I will be very happy with the results of this. Because AI has been a battleground for a while. And there have been various defenses of AI, quote unquote, generative AI, specifically in artistic fields. So generative AI art, generative AI writing from things like ChatGPT and things of that nature. There's been a lot of debate on it, and I need it to be closed. For one very simple reason. It is no longer a suspicion, it is no longer a likelihood, it is a clear, provable, searchable fact that AI is built on theft. Generative AI, I should clarify. I am in this video really only talking about artistic AI. I know there are some other potential uses for some AI technology that is being built, but the first thing is, as I've addressed elsewhere before, most non-horrible uses of AI are theoretical and not actually what the tech is being designed for or being used for at all. And if it is being used for it, that is a minority case study. By and large, this tech is being developed with the intention of cutting creatives out and being able to just generate art, generate video, generate written works without the input of writers, artists, video makers, whatever. And regardless of whether or not you think art created by a machine or an algorithm or AI has any inherent value, I'm not here to have that conversation. I don't think it really does, because regardless of the aesthetic pleasure you might get from something, one of the functions of art is to wonder at its meaning. Would you even think to wonder the meaning behind a piece of art generated by a machine? You can't take meaning out of something that didn't have meaning put into it. Well, I suppose you can, but I can't. I guess I'll be a little bit more specific. I know I can't take meaning out of something that I know for a fact had no meaning put into it. Maybe you can. I think that is a devaluation of the very concept of art. But you know what? We're setting that entire conversation aside, because regardless, even if you think generative AI is a good thing, it is built on theft. This is a fact. So, let's talk about what this thing was actually taking, because this is where I get to explain why I know the fact that, well, I know I didn't have my stuff because I didn't come up with the search, but I know why I wasn't. Because specifically, it wasn't scraping YouTube for the visuals at all. It was scraping YouTube to get better at conversational text. Because right now, most generative AI has been trained on more journalistic or academic style text, and to try and get something more conversational, yeah, YouTubers, that's the place to go. So what they've been pulling and what they've been scraping is the subtitle data. Now, the reason I haven't come up is because almost none of my videos are subtitled. To make the clarification, there is within the system the automated captioning feature, which will get you most of the way there in most cases. And, you know, I've watched it for my videos, like that's pretty close. Proper subtitles are uploaded or input manually, and they have to be properly timed, and they are work. Properly subtitling a video is additional work, which is why mine aren't. First of all, most of what I do doesn't have a proper script. And even the ones that do, I don't have the time in my workflow schedule to take the few videos that are fully scripted, which is a minority of them, and then to, even with that script, you still have to line it up, you have to get it timed, you have to make sure everything is landing in the right place. If you're someone like me and in your script you've got notes of what clips are going to show up there, you got to remove that stuff because otherwise it shows up in the subtitles. There is, again, additional work. Most creators who have subtitles on their videos, like NerdSync and like Stephanie Sterling, they get somebody else to do it. They actually pay somebody to do it because it's work and it's labor and it's money I don't have to be able to pay someone to do, because in my case it'd be a lot of work. Since most of my stuff doesn't have a script, somebody would have to sit down, listen to me, and type this stuff out manually, which would take forever. And as much as I would like to have subtitles, because it's an accessibility feature,
Generative AI is literally exploiting disability access, in case you hadn't heard.
I can't afford the money to have somebody to do it, and I don't have the time to do it myself. Like, it's a massive time sink, especially for somebody who works unscripted like I do. But there's also my friend Jessie Gender, who had one video show up because it's the one that she has that has solid subtitles. She was able, like, just because of the situation she was in at the time she put up that video, she had one that was like fully properly subtitled using the subtitles feature, and that one was collected. These things all get thrown into what is colloquially known in AI circles as the pile, because that is the value that they see in the work, the blood, sweat, tears, thoughts, ideas, and concepts put forward by people. And maybe they're good ideas, maybe they're bad ideas. It doesn't matter. They are being stolen, taken without permission, and used to train AI. AI that is largely being marketed with the intent of replacing writers, replacing artists. So they are stealing the work of the people the tech is designed to replace. But even if you want to set aside whether or not I'm being alarmist at the idea that this stuff is trying to replace artists outright, they're still stealing. And this is where I need to get on this hill because I intend to die here. I do not accept that there is an ethical use of artistic generated AI that I am aware of. The only ethical generative AI that I can imagine, that I can conceptualize, is if an artist, be they writer or be they visual artist, or be they musical artists, whatever, if an artist trained an AI on only their own work so that they have an AI specifically able to be generative of their style of work and their kind of work, that I think could be used ethically, because the only person whose data went into it is yours, so that it creates something as you might have created. Now, you can still question the value of that, whether or not you get anything good out of that system, but that's a moot point. That, I could actually argue, would be an ethical use of AI. To the best of my knowledge, that scenario doesn't exist. If for no other reason than there is no single individual training an AI. The AIs are being trained by these massive corporations who are scraping thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of videos just to try and get this thing to be able to talk more conversationally. This is theft. And even if you can imagine and argue a more positive use of this stuff than just replacing artists of some form or another, I still reject that because it's still theft. If someone steals your life savings and uses that money to start up a charitable organization, that doesn't change the fact that they stole from you. And even if this data effectively doesn't get used and it's just like part of the mess, part of the pile, and whatever is generated doesn't even use your part of the data. First of all, you can never prove that, but let's go hypothetical for a hot second. Even if that's the case, that doesn't matter either. If somebody comes into your home and steals your stuff, you don't suddenly feel okay about that just because they didn't fence it and make money off of it. They still stole your stuff. Jumping in from the edit just to add this into the mix real quick. Do not try and compare AI use of this stuff to an artist taking inspiration from existing work. It is not the same thing. An artist, a human being, is able to look at someone else's work even if they begin by copying someone else's work. As long as they are not selling that other person's work that they have copied, that is not a problem. They can take inspiration. They can leap off from it. They can make it their own thing. AI cannot do that. AI cannot take it to its own unique level. All it can do is mix in a bunch of other elements from other things to obfuscate the fact that it is just regurgitating existing material. It's called generative. It's not. It is a Frankensteinian product. It's not generative. The nomenclature is false, and I hate the fact that I have to use it. AI is theft. Generative, artistic and massive bleeding sarcasm quotes, AI is theft. No matter what use case you try and describe to me, it is theft. And it is going on a massive scale. Like, we all agreed, collectively, the internet agreed that James Somerton was a piece of garbage, because he would steal people's words and thoughts and ideas and pass them off as his own. And we all agreed that that was horrible. And it wasn't okay just because he stole from a bunch of different people. For some of his videos, he stole from dozens of people. So stealing from more than just one source didn't make it more okay. We all agreed that guy was awful. What AI is James Somerton on an industrial scale. So I do not accept that there is an ethical use of artistic generative AI. And if you are going to argue to me like, well, what if there's like a video game and it's a small dev team and they don't have the resources or the skill to like make something and they need something like this? Like, okay, look, as somebody with a relatively limited skill set, I can't draw. I can't make music. I'm a mediocre editor at best. There's lots of stuff that I either can't do or I'm not good at that I would love to have integrated more into my work, be it video or other things. But I don't have the skill to do it myself, and I don't have the resources to hire somebody else to do it. So I do understand that pain. I understand feeling like your stuff could be better if you had access to something and maybe you feel like AI would give you that access. That doesn't change the fact that it is running off of stolen work. Work taken without permission, without compensation, and without notification. It is theft. It doesn't matter what you use it for. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't think this is even going to work, ultimately. I think in the long run, this thing is going to bottom out the same way Metaverse did, the same way NFTs did. I think this is going to bottom out because it's being pushed by the exact same people for the exact same reasons. It's a scam, but it happens to have a lot of collateral damage that it is going to do while it is working its way through that process. I don't think it is possible that even if you train this thing on everything you could possibly get your hands on, and dang it, they are absolutely trying to do that, I do not think you are going to get an end result that is going to be better than mediocre. And just to be clear, people who produce mediocre art shouldn't have their stuff stolen either. I'm just saying the novelty of this is going to wear off quick if it can't be better than people, and it won't be. I think what you will end up with, at best, is something that will reliably produce something that is, oh, that's pretty good. It'll be like exactly what everyone complains about the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. Nothing is great, and most of it's just, it's fine. It's okay. Some of it's a little more okay than others, but nothing's great. And you will have to still turn to human creators to create something truly original because generative AI is not generative. It is a homunculus. It doesn't come up with new ideas, new concepts. It can't surprise you. And again, there is no actual meaning behind it. No human being put meaning into it. There is no reason to try and take meaning out of it. I do not believe it actually can replace artists or writers or video makers or musicians or anybody like that. But I'm still going to put my foot down about this because until this bottoms out, and I do believe it will, but until it does, work is being stolen and creators are finding a harder and harder time getting work. If you try and find freelance writing gigs right now, so many of them are to be brought in to help train AI. There are people who are missing out on job opportunities because people are futzing around with ChatGPT trying to get it to generate something workable rather than hire somebody. And while I think all this stuff will eventually fall apart, until it does, it's harmful and damaging. And that's not even getting into the massive impact on the environment. It's the exact same freaking problem that crypto and NFTs have. This is a massive drain on resources, and it is useless. It is useless. And it is theft. And again, odds are, if you watch my stuff, there is a very small chance you did not already know this. If you watch my stuff and watch the kind of people that I tend to watch, yeah, you knew this already. But I'm going to signal boost it. I'm going to signal boost it as loud as I freaking can. Because all of these companies, Apple, OpenAI, Google itself, like, understand, Taking data off of YouTube and using it to create something off the platform is against YouTube's terms of service. Oh, well, why hasn't Google gone against these people? Because Google does it too. If they try and go after Apple or OpenAI or anybody else for scraping the data off of YouTube, they're going to have to admit the fact that they also do it. Fuck AI. Theft of creative works is wrong. That shouldn't be controversial. We agreed on that when it was one dude doing it. I think we should be able to hold true to that when it is massive corporations doing it. Entities that have no soul, have no heart, because they're not people. At the very least, James Somerton was a person. If nothing else, he had that going for him. This? No, this is dystopian, and it's wrong. So either I just told you something you either already knew, or you're really mad at me now. I don't know. I don't think I have AI bros in my comments, but they might turn up now. Who the hell knows? Regardless, whatever your thoughts are, drop them down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I won't delete comments that disagree with me. I will delete comments that insult me or anybody else. So no personal attacks, no slurs. And even if you disagree with me, your comment should, in theory, stay up. But other than that, Patreon is what pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. For now, for as long as I'm not replaceable by a goddamn machine. But even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. I'm stuck on this platform. I got to play its game as much as I'm willing to. But what I really want you to remember is that as long as you are not stealing the work, blood, sweat, tears, and livelihood of other people, that you are beautiful. You are valid, and you are loved. You are the council. I'm just running the meetings, and until next time, this council is adjourned. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Zumila Fulla, Goddess Elida, Trista Ashley, Oliver B., Melissa Peterson, Tarak, The Thing That Goes Joint to the Anime, Gene Foray, Movie Turtle, Ulrich Bogdan, Loki Eris, Linda Walters, Jen, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Fernambilax the Poodle, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, White Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Pal Barabajoggle, Lucy Wood, Dor Mayhew, and Mary G. Thank you for your support, and consider supporting me as well on Patreon.